Hello good people and welcome back to another video. I think it's about time I did a much more updated, informative, and engaging version of the animation tutorial I did a couple years back. Not only was the last animation tutorial made on Scratch 2.0, I was an extremely terrible explainer.
So we're gonna start with, let's do like, I don't know, I'm just gonna hold down the arrow.
So I hope to improve from that and make your understanding and grasp of the basics for animating in Scratch skyrocket. In this video, I will be making a mini animation with my OC, going through some principles of animation that, if implemented, will improve your animations exponentially. So why don't we get started? Also, please note that this video is almost entirely for beginners to animation or Scratch, so if you have more experience, please be more patient. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hover over to this top bar you see up here, and next to your message box, which I have a lot, I know, I just don't like checking them because there's no way I can respond to them all anyways, and then you want to click on My Stuff, the S that's on the folder up here, so click on that, and that'll bring you to this page. And up here, next to My Stuff, the title, top right, you see New Project and New Studio. We're going to want to click New Project to create a new project. It could be a game or an animation or anything. It just, you have to click New Project to make it. We're going to go ahead and do that. And once we load in, it's going to look something like this. So I'm quickly going to go over what's in this Scratch editor real quick. This is like the desktop. This is where you'll see your animation or game or just project in general. This is all your sprites, and you can make multiple and have them work together to make a game or animation. And over here on the left, you can see a bunch of blocks. If you click down here, you can see them all. And these are the different types of blocks that you can drag onto this place, which affects the character that is over here. So moves 10 steps, click. It'll move 10 steps, look at that. And then after that, you can see up here, save now. You're going to want to get in the habit of saving now almost every minute. You want to be very consistent in saving your progress. Over here is See Project Page. Once you do that, you can go over to the project page that everyone will be looking at when they view your project. And of course, it isn't shared. As you can see, once you share it, then the public will be able to view it. Over here, instructions, notes, and credits. If you don't type in one or the other, then the one that hasn't been typed in will disappear for your viewers. And over here is where your animation game or just project in general will be. So if you click See Inside, then you will go back inside the project, and up here you will see this is our title. So why don't we title this animation tutorial V2. I spelled that wrong. let me spell it right. There we go. All right, animation tutorial V2, new and improved. So the first thing we're gonna want to do is delete the scratch cat that was right here. I already did that. And then you're gonna want to delete this costume because we want to start from scratch. So now we're gonna go more into the animation phase of things and less of all the other things you need to know to make projects in general. So the first thing we're going to go over is the essential blocks, which is what these things are, that we need before every animation in order to make it perfect. Also, I forgot to say, up here, the green flag is how you can start the project, and the red flag is how you can stop it. Unfortunately, you can't pause something, so once you stop it and then you click the green flag again, it will just restart the animation or game or whatever you're doing. So let's get back to the essential blocks. So what we're going to do is click on Events, and then when the green flag is clicked. So that means that when someone clicks this, then whatever is below connected here will happen. Whatever those blocks do, it will occur over here. The next thing we're gonna want is we want to go to 0, 0. So it is currently at 70, 0 because I moved 10 steps in the example. So we're going to want to change that to 0, 0. So then every single time you click this green flag and the animation starts, it will appear at the center of the screen. Of course, you always want to remember to save. Every single time that it pops up here, you're gonna want to save. Don't forget that, because if you accidentally forget for a long time and then you want to save a project, then it'll take a long time to save, and it may not save, and you may have to load the project and then just do a huge process to save the sprites that you edited. The next block we're going to want to do is we're going to want to click on looks over here below motion, and you're going to want to switch costume to costume 1, so that if your animation is on a different costume, which by the way is right here, you can make all these different costumes, you know, so there's 3 costumes right now, so when the green flag is clicked, as you can see, switch costume to costume 1, then we go to costumes, it will be at costume 1. So yeah, when you click the green flag and all those blocks are down there, it will happen. The next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set size to 100%, so that if you were experimenting before of your animation and it was at like 50% and it was pretty small, then you can switch it back to 100% once you've clicked the green flag. The next thing you're going to want to do is also in the looks category. You're going to want to look all the way down here and click and drag clear graphic effects. Effects are basically what these are. So if I have like a little, let's say I have a little rectangle right there, and then I change the color effect to 25, then I click the green flag, it will clear that effect and then it'll go back. So yes, you're always going to want to have clear graphic effects over there. So the next block is probably one of the most important besides when the green flag is clicked, and that would be the show block. This actually makes your sprite show when the green flag is clicked. So if I had hide here instead of show, then it will disappear. So we want to always make sure that this thing is showing so that we can actually see the animation. However, if you want to have it like more dramatic, or you just want to do something else, then you can have like hide, wait, like 3 seconds. We can do 3 seconds, and then show. And then you can see what happens right here. 1, 2, 3. Bam! And then it shows. So yeah, there's a lot of freedom you have to manipulate these blocks and change this animation. So now that we have the starting blocks, I think we should start on the costumes for our animation. So if you bear with me and look in my backpack, then you will see all types of stuff right there. You see that? Sexy. Yep, and then that is pretty much just sexy boy McBoy, you know. But what we want is my regular OC, which is, I believe, back here after scrolling in the backpack. There it is, boyo right here. So you're going to want to drag him and drop. And then once you have him, you're going to want to select all of him, Command-C, Command-V to copy and paste, or Control-C, Control-V for PC or Windows or anything like that. Also, I think it is good to note that I am using a Mac, so if some commands don't really work, then maybe search up the conversion from Mac to whatever you're using. So we have our OC right here. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to right-click on the costume, duplicate, and then in the first costume, we're going to want to completely delete my OC. only his feet remain. Delete. But yeah, usually you want your first costume to be pretty much nothing, because it's much easier if you start out with nothing and then it comes on later in the animation. So we're going to adjust this OC so that it is expressionless, and then we are going to go animate our first part in this animation tutorial. So if we drag this guy up here, Scratch added an amazing feature which allows you to see beyond just the square that the viewers really see, and it's absolutely amazing. I love it. But yeah, we're gonna implement our first animation principle right here, which is the squash and stretch. So we're going to squash our guy right there. Actually, I think that's stretching, but whatever. And then we're going to have him up here. This will show that our OC is falling down really fast. So then, once he is all the way up there, maybe we can stretch a little bit more. And you should note that every single time that you stretch or squash, you should make it so that you do the opposite on the other stretch or squash. For instance, if I'm stretching this way, then I should squash much more thin. But for now, we're not going to be that thin. So right up here, this squash and stretch will signify that we are going super fast, even faster than Sonic. Or maybe not, but whatever. I will say that I am as fast as Sonic. And now we have our first costume done. Yay! So the next thing we're going to want to do is duplicate that bad boy. And then select this all. And then you're going to want to keep going down. And I think this squash and stretch is enough. I think it's a little too much, actually. But we'll leave it to this for now. Then let's duplicate another costume. And now let's make the impact. So This impact is going to be a lot of squashing, so he's going to be extremely wide and extremely not tall. So yeah, this is pretty much what he looks like right now. Maybe we can make him a little bit smaller. But yeah, this looks pretty good so far. And now I think we should duplicate costume 4, and then we will do a little bit more squash. This leads us to another principle, which is the slow in and slow out. We're going to want to implement all of those into our animation. There's a lot more principles. I'm just going over the basics for this tutorial. So he squashes down right there, and now we're going to have him spring right back up. So we're going to have him go up right there, and of course we're going to want to stretch him much less. There we go. I think that looks great. Maybe we should have this squash a little bit lower. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So maybe right there, and then we'll move this guy as well. Alright, that looks good. So next, we're going to want to align the feet so that they are on the same thing. It wouldn't really help if they're just flying around the place, right? Like, there is no ground, but we have to have a ground. So their feet need to stay in the same place. That looks good. So I think we're going to then duplicate another costume, and then we're going to have him stretch out a little bit. So he's going to be a little bit taller than he usually is. So right there. I think that looks great. That might be a little too normal. Let's squash him or stretch him, or I don't know, squash and stretch, whatever. They're hard words to say, actually. So yeah, I think that looks good for that. Yeah, that looks like a good squish. And then we're going to have him go back to normal. Maybe we'll have him ease into going back to normal. I think that would be a good idea. We'll have him go down there, and then bam, he's normal. He's not squashed or stretched or anything. Gotta save my project like usual. And let's see how this looks. So I actually keep a copy of the script that you need for animations in my backpack, and I'm going to drag it out right here. So what this script looks like, let it load for a bit. Bam, there it is. Alright, it looks like this. Repeat until costume number equals blank. So the end of this animation was at 10, so we're going to repeat until costume number equals 10. And what we're going to do in between is we are going to be doing next costume, of course. Now, one flaw I found in my last animation tutorial was that I strongly encouraged people not to have any weight blocks right here, which would slow down the animation, but now I actually encourage it. I think 0.02 is a great way to slow down your animations, make it a lot more, I don't know, a lot better. I don't really like the fast, jerky moves. I like the slow, methodical moves. So let's see what this looks like. I think we should add a little bit of a weight right there, just to emphasize why you don't want to have anything in your first costume. See, nothing in my first costume. That means that the first window will be completely white and there will be nothing. But after you've waited 1 second, look at that, that's so smooth, I love it. Oh my gosh, I squashed really far out. That actually looks really good, I like that. Save project. Alright, now that we've really done the squash and stretch thing, I think we should focus on another principle of animation, which is smooth in and smooth out. Now, in order to do that, let's duplicate this costume so that we really don't want the last frame of our first animation to be the first frame of a next one, because that just makes it really bad. So this one is going to be the first frame of our next animation, and I think the next thing we should do is we'll just have our OC give a little smile, and we'll raise our hands. So we'll end up probably looking like this. We'll probably look like this. Also, another thing to mention, these things at the top, or just some point in your sprite, it's really annoying, but you can't do anything about it. So I'm sorry, I can't do anything. It's just gonna have to be there. That's one of the bugs from Scratch 3.0. So this is the end goal for this animation we are trying to achieve. So why don't we go back to this frame, and then we will duplicate, right-click duplicate, and it will duplicate one that is above this one. So we can keep doing this until we finally get to this frame. Actually, change of plans, I think we're going to delete this, and we're just going to start all over, because I think that would be a lot easier. So for the first frame, I think we are going to do just a little bit. This ties into the smooth in and smooth out. Or, wait, is it slow in and slow out? Yeah, I think that's how it is. It's not smooth. I mean, it is smooth, but it's not smooth in and smooth out. Whatever. So we're just going to want to move a little bit. And then for the eyes, I'm just going to creep up. Oh, wait, that is not. You can do... By the way, you could do Command-C or Control-Z depending on your computer for fixing a mistake. It's extremely helpful. So yeah, let's add a little square right there. We'll probably make it go down a little bit. Yeah, that's a great first frame. Alright, that looks perfect. So, this is what we have so far. If you can look over here, when we switch things in the costume, it kind of blinks, which is extremely annoying, but if you look over here, it doesn't blink. So just look over there when you want to test out an animation just by clicking through the costumes. So let's right-click duplicate, and let's make it a little bit faster. Alright, I think that's good enough for that. Bam, that looks great. Alright, so duplicate, and then let's do this again, except a little bit more. Alright, how does this look? Bam, bam, bam. Ooh, alright. That is not the last frame. We still have plenty more to go. So I think after this, we'll start slowing down a little bit. Not that much. That looks great. Alright, so let's have 2 more frames to slow down. You can actually see through the animation that I'm using arcs, which is another principle of animation. You can see my hand is moving in an arc that actually exaggerates movements, and I really suggest you guys using it in your own animations. And then let's have 1 final frame with barely any movement. And bam, that looks great! Except for that thing at the top, that's not cool, but I think this animation is gonna look great. So, this is costume 16, so let's go back here. We'll duplicate all of this so that we have the weight block in between. So there'll be a 1, we'll change this to 0.5, and then we'll change this to 16. It's that easy. It really is much easier to animate than it is to game make. That's why, that is the main reason why I make animations. Alright, so let's see how this looks. Look how smooth that is. You could see a little bit of jitter at the top of the head, but we can't do anything about that, unfortunately. Bam. Oh, that looks great. It looks very smooth, and that is exactly what we want. You see, wait 0.02 seconds, that's still really good. Alright, the next thing we're going to want to do is go to costumes, and now we're gonna try something that is a little difficult. We're gonna try to zoom in to whatever this OC is doing. So we're gonna zoom out in the costume editor, and we're going to make a new costume, because again, we can't have the last costume of the last animation be the first costume of the next animation, because that would not look good. So let's do this. So this is extremely important. So Scratch made something extremely nice, which if you see right there to the left of the middle, that is the middle, and that is what we're going to want to center around when zooming in. So I think we should start zooming in. So we'll do the slow in, slow out again. Then we'll gradually go towards the center so that we can lock on to that center. So yeah, that looks pretty smooth already. And yeah, that was the first frame. So let's duplicate and go again. This time a little bit bigger. And now we're getting much closer to the middle, as you can see right there. We're going to want to keep inching our way there, just so it's very gradual and the viewers don't really notice as much. Ooh, as you can see, that doesn't look that good. You can see the change in thing right there. So for this first frame, we're gonna move over to the left a little bit, and now that looks a lot better, except I think this is a little too tall, so let's go down a little bit. As if you animate for a while, you could just tell when things don't look exactly right, and if you guys are new, then you will get to this point as well. So yeah, I think that looks much better right now. Except this guy is going a little bit too far to the left, so there we go. That looks great. So, one thing I should mention, people get this so wrong when they use my OC. These eyes are actually lines. So whenever you zoom in, let's do this. So whenever you do this, the lines stay at their same width, so it looks really weird when I do this. So I'm gonna have to adjust the lines as I zoom in, which is extremely annoying. I don't like it. I think they should increase, the line width should increase as the costume increases, but we just have to deal with it. So let's duplicate this costume and then go very big. We're gonna want to do a little bit much bigger. And now we're gonna cling on to the center. Now we can actually cling on to the center because we've been inching our way over there for a long time. And now we also have to adjust the width of my eyes so that they look natural. So I think 30 will do the trick. Yeah, usually people don't notice this eye change as much, so it doesn't matter as much, but you do have to change it or else people will definitely notice. And now let's start slowing down a little bit because we went very, very big on that last one. So we're gonna want to cling on to the center again. That might disturb something, I don't know. Yeah, it kind of does. You see, I'm going to the left a little bit in the animation and then I just suddenly stop. But I think we don't have to be that exact. I think this will work just fine. So let's edit these eyes a little bit. Let's make them 32. I think 32 would work great. Yeah, I think that works. All right. And then let's add one last frame to this animation. And this last frame, of course, has to be a very minor adjustment because slow in and slow out, you know? And the eyes will change it so that it's 33 width instead of 32. Yeah, that looks great. So I think we should, okay, it's at costume 21, so I think we should put this into our blocks and then see how this animation looks. All right, you can see right here, let's duplicate this so we get the weight block. I think 0.5 will work. We can change it to 0.8 though. I think that'll be great. And then let's change this to 21. And there you go. All you really have to do is animate. The blocks aren't that hard. They're not as time consuming as actually animating. Animating part is the hardest part for sure. So let's see what this animation looks like. Oh, that looks great. I actually kind of like it going to the side a little bit. It's like, it really is, it's like a comedic zoom. I don't really know why, but it looks much better actually. Let's see this again. Squash, raise a hand, and that, yeah, it's very quick, very subtle, very nice. I love it. I think the next order of business, and I think the last order of business, is going to be us reaching to the side and then dragging a black screen across where we can loop this animation. So in order to do that, let's duplicate this bad boy and then move this guy over. This is the first frame, and then we'll have him look over as well. Also, this is extremely important. When you click something, you can shift click another thing to get it as well. So if you want, like, let's say you want this circle, and this thing over here. So you're gonna want to shift click and shift click. And now you have only those three things. Let's Control Z that back because that does not look good without it there. Oh, another trick I should tell you guys. When you get a circle and you want to drag it out, you see, you can just do this all day. Or you can shift click and then it turns into a circle no matter where you go. This is extremely useful and I use it all the time. So yeah, just shift click and then it will be perfect. You can do the same thing for this as it makes squares. And that's also very nice. It's very nice info. All right, so now let's get back to this. So we have the arm movement, very gradual, but it will work for now. And then let's use arrow keys for the eyes. We'll only go 2 over for the first frame. Oh, that might be too much. Actually, no, the eyes can be a little bit faster than the hands. So let's make a new costume and let's go a little bit faster. So now the eyes are going to go over, let's say 4 clicks. Actually, let's do 5. So this is going to be what it looks like. That looks great. Now the hand is picking up speed faster than the eyes, so that is perfect. So now this is going to reach all the way over. I know he has a very long arm span, that's fine. And then we're also going to want the eyes go over here. We're gonna just jitter click the arrow keys. Let's see how this looks. Oh, that looks great. All right, so now let's start slowing down. So let's do this. Very, very, very slight. It's less slight than the first and last frames, but it's still pretty slight. Then this is gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, duplicating that from the second frame that we did. And now we're going to duplicate what we did in the first frame. We're gonna have him right there. And then we're going to go over 2 clicks of the arrow keys. 1, 2. That looks perfect. Save now. And now let's start dragging out this black screen. So the next thing we're going to want to do is, of course, duplicate. You're going to need to get used to duplicating. Right click duplicate, of course, because animating, you need to copy the frames. If you do one frame and then just do the same frame but you redraw it every single time, I can promise that it will not look good, because you have to do this. It just saves much more time just to right click and duplicate. Just do it, okay? So now let's have a very gradual the hand come out, very slight, and then we will also have a square or a rectangle, whatever. But yeah, it will be right here. You can see it's just off the screen. Bam, that looks great. So now I think for the second frame, we can be a lot more fast about it. And then it looks like that. So now is the fast part. Now is the extreme fast part. Let's make that go front. Yeah, front and back right here. I didn't really go over this editor much. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I will be happy to answer most of them. I do get a lot of questions, so don't be sad if I don't answer it. Yeah, and it's already halfway across the screen. So I think this should go to front, right? Okay, yeah. The black screen should be in front of the hand. I think that's a good idea. And now we're going to completely cover my OC. So now I can really just delete the OC. No use in having extra costumes or things. It just causes more lag. So we'll have that right over there. Maybe we'll have it a little bit more because we want to match what was right here. We want to match this distance to be right here. So then we will go right there. And then we'll do the last costume, which is the black screen completely submerging this whole screen. So yeah, that's pretty much all this animation in this tutorial, but I do want to teach you guys how to loop this animation. But before we do that, let's go down here, duplicate all of these costumes yet again, and then let's repeat until costume, I think it was 32. Wait, let me check. Yes, it is 32. Okay, perfect. Repeat until costume 32. We'll wait 1 second because why not, you know? So let's see how this animation looks. Boing, wave, zoom, and then boom, and then transition. That looks great. So after this, I think what we're going to want to do is we're gonna want to get some repeat. We can make it 25. And then we're going to want to change the effects. This is why you want the clear graphic effects, because I'm experimenting right now, and if something goes wrong, I don't want to have to change it back manually. I'll just have it change back after you click the green flag. So we're going to want to change the ghost effect by 4 every single time so that it adds up to 125 times 4, easy maths. And you're gonna want to, this is extremely important. Most people do like -4, but no, that's not gonna work. It's just gonna make it stay appearing. It's just gonna keep it there. So what we want to do is have it 4. So think about it, the more of numbers in the ghost effect, the more opacity it has, or the more transparent it is. So once we do that, then we're just going to want to get a forever block, wherever it is. And then we're going to want to put it all over this bad boy. So there we go. I think that looks great. So let's see how this looks. Let's see if it repeats. I might have gotten something wrong, but then we can troubleshoot together. Boing. Hello. Hello. Boing. Yes, it works. Look at that. We are making animations together. This looks absolutely beautiful. Alright, once you've finished your project, then you're just going to want to put some notes and credits, like who you got this idea from or whatever, or instructions if you're making a game, or instructions if you're making an animation. I don't know, I don't judge. And over here, you're just going to want to click share, and then once you share the project, then hopefully people will see it, and hopefully you will gain followers. Except the real prize from doing Scratch is, of course, learning new skills. Alright, that's going to be this mini animation tutorial on Scratch. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new. If you did, then make sure to like the video and subscribe for future content, and I will see you guys next video. Peace!